An update tonight on a story you'll see only on CBS News Chicago. What appears to be the same man now caught on camera after 2 random attacks on women in Chicago.
So far, police have not confirmed that's the same person, but another woman reached out to us after seeing our story last week about a woman being sucker punched downtown.
Our Jermont Terry spoke to the latest victim, who says this time the man was armed.
For the second time in a week, another woman finds herself in pain and disbelief.
Women in Chicago are scared.
This 26-year-old is the latest victim of a random sucker punch.
I'm just glad that he didn't break my jaw or stab me.
It was Friday night around 8 o'clock here at the Metro 35th Street stop. The woman says she was about to get off the train when the guy told her to get out of her way. The next thing she knew, he threw a nasty punch to the jaw. Now, she managed to snap a picture of the guy before he ran down this platform. Passengers tried to grab him at first.
There was a couple guys that were around that, were like, what the heck, you just hit a woman. And then they said he had a knife in his hand. So everybody just backed off.
In the image, you can see the weapon in the man's hands.
Listen, this is not the time to be politically correct. This is not the time to feel great about it. That literally looks like the exact same type of knife that the guy used that was on the train in North Carolina that ultimately took that young lady's life. And there's multiple reports of this guy running around downtown Chicago, riding on trains, punching women's lights out, and he's not even the first guy that's been reported to do so. Another guy had got arrested because he was downtown punching and trying to knock chicks out. And I did multiple different reports of women who had bruised eyes, they had broken jaws, they had been hospitalized. These were older white women in particular. And so this guy who's walking around dangerous with a knife, and he's punching women and trying to knock them out, and he has no regard for authority, no regard for people that try to stop him. In this case, this is pretty rare because you actually see it to where when you was looking at the footage on the North Carolina train, right? Nobody had even really knew what happened. All they knew is that this guy was walking back and forth saying, "I got that white girl," right? And then that was what kind of caused the whole firestorm once they released the audio, because they were slow to release the audio. But the people in the footage didn't really seem like they were trying to do anything whatsoever to then stop this guy or apprehend this guy or to hold him accountable or to keep track of him. In this situation, there were actually people that tried to stop him, and then he pulled out a knife. And so this needs to be taken very seriously. Now, leave it up to the Chicago mayor. They will let you, try to lead you to believe that everybody is just so great and everybody is just, singing Kumbaya and nobody is having any problems and is really safe on the train and is really safe on public transportation and is really safe in downtown Chicago. And I don't doubt that people believe that they will be okay, but how many different instances, aside from what is happening in Chicago as far as other types of crime, how many different instances do you then have to experience, because it only takes one time for something to go horribly wrong, and then everybody is going to want to have a conversation, right? You have multiple women in this instance, which is completely separate from multiple other people who had eventually got caught and arrested. But this guy is just walking around. There's footage of him. He clearly has a knife. He doesn't look like he's the nicest person in the world, or that he's, skinny, frail, or scrawny, or anything like that. And there's women that are afraid to even put their faces online because they're afraid that this guy somehow, some way can retaliate. If you're just looking at this picture right now and you're seeing this, I wouldn't even put it past him that he's done something much worse, much more terrible than what it is that he's being reported to have done right here. If you're walking around with a knife, holding it like that, my profiling skill says this guy is probably one of the most dangerous. This is why I don't even have conversations with people unless they say, "Hey, what up?" or they speak, and I mind my business. I stay out of the way, because you don't know who is what and who people are capable of, what people are capable of. This guy is running around knocking out white women and carrying a knife. And when they tried to stop him, he carried a knife and he not messing around. And so I'm not even sure what the gun laws are in in Chicago. But this could be scary for a lot of people.
But what's more concerning? Take a look. This man fits the description of another
Same
attacker.
guy.
CBS Chicago.
He's literally the same guy. He's got the same hat on. He got the same stance, the whole 9 yards. This is the same guy.
Told you about a week ago. Take a listen to what Lindsay Howard told us about the man who randomly punched her while walking downtown.
Very thin, like wiry circle glasses. He had a black kind of like woolen cap with like headphones around it.
I believe it is the same person.
Despite two victims snapping images of the person who punched them
That's him.
and their attacker wearing identical clothing
And glasses. That's him. That's him. That's the serial puncher that's knocking chicks out over in Chicago.
Police will not say if this is the same person, but the similarities
Hold
are
on, let me
too
play
much.
that again. It says the police will not say if this is the same person.
Will not say if this is the same person, but the similarities are too much for the victims, who insist there's a serial puncher out there, which is why the latest victim is hiding her identity.
I'm scared to run into him again.
She filed a complaint with both Chicago and Metro Police.
The train conductors were saying that they believe he got on at Joliet.
Yet she refuses to hop on the train anytime soon after that punch shattered her sense of security.
Just because I am scared. It's not a joke.
She wants the person arrested and charged.
Well, we all know that that's not going to happen because let the mayor tell it to you and the Illinois governor tell it to you. They will lead you to believe that this young man who is out there serial punching people is not a threat to society, that crime is down, that it's safe to go back and forth, and that all they need is another $800 to $1 billion from the Trump administration so that they can continue to implement the same safety tactics, which include the actual police department shaving $100 million off of their budget. I'm sorry, a little over $90 million off of their budget, even though they are down thousands of police officers, and they want to give that to community organizers so that they can go and sing Kumbaya and try to negotiate a truce amongst the criminals against the pedestrians. I don't know where we went wrong. I was telling people on the Millionaire Morning Show today that we've overcorrected so much and we've went so left when it comes to the way that we live our lives and the way that we implement laws and how soft we've gotten. And, I seen the speech that Brandon Johnson regularly makes about incarceration and, they wanted to do safety, no bail, but that doesn't protect people. That doesn't make people feel safe. You got illegal migrants running around, squatting inside of apartment buildings. Right after the Laken Riley Act, they then told Tom Homan and the Trump administration that they wouldn't work with them to deport the people that get arrested or to ensure that they help keep Chicago safe. And so they're underreporting crime, some stuff like this. They saying that violent crime is down. I would say that this is absolutely a violent crime, considering that he can take somebody's life and he's flashing a knife while at the same time trying to punch chicks' lights out. And so I don't even know how they classify crime inside of Chicago. I was talking to one police officer, and he was saying that it's not uncommon for felonies to be reduced down to misdemeanors so that they can make sure that they get the crime stats right and underreport crime to make it seem like they're doing something that they're not doing. And Brandon Johnson was one of the biggest advocates, and he still is the biggest advocate for defunding the police way before he ever became mayor of Chicago. So I'm confused. I think that people need to remain vigilant, be very careful of how you're doing out here, how you're moving, because it is a serial puncher, knife wielding monster that is running around, and he hasn't been caught, and he probably won't be caught. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later.